Giant fans that have supported us for more than 30 years at Giant Stadium, for all those years in Yankee Stadium, and some of you even back to the Polo Grounds. This is for you. This is for you.
Listen to me. Okay. The rest of your life, man, nobody can ever tell you that you couldn't do it, because you did.
With the second pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, the New York Giants select Saquon Barkley, running back, Penn State.
Well, hello again, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Giants Guys. This is John Fennelly, and with me, as always, Mr. Craig Santucci of NYGiantsRush.com. Craig, how you doing today?
Giants guys are back. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling kickoff coming up is what I'm feeling.
Yeah, and today is in the 60s here in the New York area, so it's getting to be football weather. Cloudy in the 60s. That's a good start. Unfortunately, the Giants are not playing at home this weekend. They'll be down in Dallas. We'll get to that in a second. I haven't had you on in a while. We haven't been on in maybe 2 weeks.
Yeah, that's my fault.
That's okay, but there's a few developments that have happened since we've last been on the air.
Of course, yes.
And one of them is the cutting of the 53-man roster.
Oh, yeah, some surprises, no doubt.
And I wanted to get your take on any surprises or anything that really surprised you. I mean, there was a few things that you knew were obvious, but what do you think the biggest surprise was?
Biggest surprise. Well, I guess more of a late development is the trading of Goodson to the Packers for basically, 4 magic beans and 2 rubber bands. So I was a little surprised with the compensation.
It's like a promissory note.
Yeah, so that and again, that was a little bit of a late development because that was like,
Did you read the deal? They first of all, they cut him. Well, they said they cut him. And then they said, well, we didn't cut him. We're trading him. We're trading him to Green Bay. And Green Bay is going to send us a 7th-round pick if Baltimore finishes worse than we do.
Which I don't even understand.
Because it's Baltimore's pick that they're trading the Giants. So they're trading the Giants Baltimore's pick. But if the Giants finish better than Baltimore, they'll get it. If the Giants finish worse than Baltimore, they'll swap Baltimore's pick. It's a swap. It's a swap of picks.
Yeah, and the question is, why even make that deal? Like, why even trade? No, but I'm saying, but why trade for a pick that has to be?
I know you're moving up 10 spots and 5 spots in the 7th round.
Yeah, like who gives a crap? Excuse my French, but like Giants guys, we try to keep it PG-13. But I mean, who gives a crap? Like,
yeah, I know.
Just make a deal that doesn't have fine print, please. Just and it's a 7th round. I
thought they were getting the 7th round pick for Goodson straight up, but no, it wasn't it.
And on top of the fact that, again, I didn't think he was going to make the team. I wrote a piece on NYGiantsRush about him just last week. And, the guy's not trash. There's people out there saying he's trash. He's not trash. He can't stay healthy. I mean, he's had 5 injuries in 3 years. I mean, and then he kind of shrinks. So you don't know if he's disappearing because of the injuries or he can't play. But he had 18 tackles in one game in 2007.
When he's in a 4-3 base,
he's good.
I mean, he's playing a wing out there. He's not bad. But, when you put him in a flex, fungible 3-4 like the Giants have now with all kinds of moving parts, he can't play in space that well.
No, he's a downhill linebacker.
He's a line. He's got to play in his lane. If he has to go laterally, he's in trouble.
Yeah, he's a downhill, 2-down linebacker. Yeah. So that was my first surprise. And again, that was after the cuts. I guess I was really surprised that they cut the tight end Conrad, because he had such a good camp, and everybody was talking about how good he looked. So I was a little bit surprised with that. Mm-hmm. Now Simonson got hurt, so they parked him on the practice squad.
No. He's on IR.
Oh, I'm sorry.
See, he had a high ankle sprain, which usually has ligament damage attached to it. That's what that is. So you're looking at 4 to 6 weeks. So
yeah, and that was and I misspoke, because that was my confusion was, so Simonson makes that great catch in the end zone, if you remember. Mm-hmm. Gets injured. He's going to be out for 4 to 6 weeks.
No, he's out for the year. He's not coming
he's
back.
Done?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know. Oh, because of injured reserve.
Yeah, he didn't. In order to come back during the season, you have to make the 53-man roster and then be placed on IR, like Sam Beal was.
But wouldn't that have been the better move?
I guess, but they didn't do it that way.
Because he's a good blocker. We know that the Giants shut down the Bears last year purely on his blocking of Khalil Mack, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm just surprised that your original question was surprises. So to me was put him on the 53, IR him, and then Conrad becomes the number 3 tight end.
Or Dickerson, you could have cut him and gotten him back. I don't think anybody would have signed him.
I don't understand that move at all. So those are like what the ones that jump out at me is, you want Simonson, so put him on the 53, then IR him, keep Conrad. Conrad moves up to the number 3 tight end, and cut Dickerson, because who cares?
Yeah.
Should I really care? No offense. I'm sure he's a nice guy and he's talented, but I just don't get that at all. That was a head scratcher for me.
Yeah, I'm just going to check on Simonson. I don't know if he's eligible to come back during the season.
All right.
I'm almost positive he's not, but go ahead.
And while you're checking on that, I guess my other, surprise, which if you're listening to the Giants guys, or you've been listening to the Giants guys, or you read NYGiantsRush, you'll know I'm constantly on Paul Perkins. I've eaten a lot of crow on it. I didn't think he would make the team. I didn't think Paul Perkins deserved to make the team. I thought Hillman was the move. I thought he showed a lot of moxie. I like the kid. He's a Jersey kid from Rutgers. Was really excited to get him a couple touches. So I don't know. I mean, couple of my followers on Twitter were saying that Paul Perkins is a superb pass blocker. I don't know. Okay, maybe. I think that's another head scratcher for me. I don't see the Paul Perkins thing. I've watched every snap, so I don't know. I'll kick it back over to you, and what do you think? What are your thoughts? Were you rooting for Hillman or Perkins, or you don't care?
Well, Hillman, you don't. If you cut Perkins, somebody's going to pick him up. That's almost a given. If you cut Hillman, who ended up back on the practice squad, I believe. You don't get to keep the guy. So you keep the guy that you could lose if you waive him. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Plus Perkins, he didn't play that poorly. I think they like what he brings to it. He's not going to play a whole lot. If Barkley is healthy the whole year and Goldman is healthy, what's his role anyway? When you think about it. The only reason why I think he made the team is because Rod Smith got hurt. Otherwise, they may have just cut Perkins and kept Rod Smith.
Well, that makes sense.
So, injuries had a lot to do with the 53. Let me see. Okay.
You're looking.
I'm looking for what's his name? Simonson, yeah. And I don't think he was one of the 53, so I think he could come back this year.
Again, I could be wrong. I thought
they don't announce it. They just tell you after the fact. So they don't tell you when they place him on IR. So it looks like he's one of the cuts. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. He's one of your draft day moves. When he got hurt, was during the game, and then he went for an MRI the next day, I believe. And let's see. I mean, it's not a big deal if he comes back or not, no? I mean, to me.
Well, again,
he's a third tight end, and they could always elevate Conrad from the practice squad. He got placed on injured reserve on the 31st. Okay, so that's cut day.
Yep.
Okay, so it doesn't really tell you if he's eligible to come back or not.
Yeah, because he got hurt the night before the cuts.
Right. So he got hurt that game, that Thursday night, and then Saturday they put him on IR, but that's cut day. Now, do they do that before they make their cuts? You know, they didn't waive him injured, so I guess he could come back. Yep. But you can only do that to two guys. Okay? And they've got a bunch of guys on IR, so is he going to be one of those guys? That's what you got to think about.
So the believe it or not, the depth chart. Okay.
Oh, you want to move to the depth chart?
Well, no. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to change gears on you. No, I was just saying that.
I wanted you to talk about the carrying the third quarterback.
Oh no, I'm getting there. I was just going to go back to the tight end thing.
Okay.
That Garrett Dickerson is. And Eric Tomlinson are listed as the third and fourth tight end.
Yes.
They don't even, it's that certain position is a little bit of an anomaly because the two more talented guys are Conrad and Simonson, and they're not on the 53 man.
Well, Dickerson outplayed Conrad in camp. I mean, he clearly did. He was a much better player, and he's better on special teams.
Yeah, good special teams.
But he's hurt now. He's not going to play this week. He's already out. So he's not going to play. And Tomlinson's a blocker. I mean, he was with the Jets. I mean, that was his job, to block. I mean, he doesn't touch the ball. So I think they just brought him in because they, they might need that extra blocker because a lot of times Ingram isn't going to play traditional inline tight end. So they need somebody on the end of the line to block. So that's why they took this Tomlinson. But the other jet that they took was the lineman, Eric Smith, who they have no prior association with. Tomlinson actually was in camp with Philadelphia when Shermer was the offensive coordinator, so he knows him. Okay. So you can see that association and why they would take this guy. But Eric Smith was cut by the Jets, and their offensive line stinks. So if he can't make that line, what do you want with this guy? What are you seeing? And they have no prior association with him.
And why did they cut Conrad? I don't get it. Or why, I don't get it.
Well, he's not ready to play in the NFL, I don't think. And you saw that in some cases in the preseason. He was just
a little raw.
Yeah, he just didn't have it yet. He's got to hone his skills. He's got to work on it. It's not saying he can't play for the Giants someday or another team someday. It's just that right now he's not the best option. Yeah. Special team. You got to play special teams.
Let's talk about the 800-pound gorilla in the room.
Yeah.
3 quarterbacks. Your third quarterback might not be the right one.
They seem to think so.
What is wrong with them?
They seem to think so. And this is the explanation that you got. Well, here's the reason why you don't want Lauletta as your third quarterback is multiple. I think there's still a little pissed about last year's arrest for the traffic incident where he almost ran over a cop. They never forgave him for that. Even though he outplayed Tanny head and shoulders in camp and in the preseason, the odds of Lauletta playing this year were great. He wasn't going to, weren't too great, rather. He wasn't going to play. And he may not play. So they'd rather have a guy standing next to Jones on the sideline that is an that's going to educate him and center him and teach him, rather than have a guy standing on the sideline next to him saying, gee, I wish I could play. So, to me, why don't you just make that guy a coach and free up that spot for somebody else?
Yeah. You're reading right out of my playbook.
Because if Alex Tanney plays a snap for the Giants, a meteor may as well hit the earth because it's over.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't at that point. I 100% agree that there's a little animosity still for Laletta. Maybe he's got a bad attitude. I don't know. Don't know the guy. Never met the guy, but he clearly outplayed Tanney. I mean, just clearly outplayed Tanney, right?
Yeah.
And to outright cut him. I mean, listen, I don't understand all the economics
They
of the NFL.
may have tried to trade him.
Well, that was my next question.
Yeah,
because,
but you don't know the specifics to that. They probably shop him, and everybody's like, no.
Yeah, and that's the shell game. Is everybody says no, right?
Yeah.
But when the Giants drafted Nassib, who was a complete bust, right? There was opportunities where teams were down QBs and they were looking for a quarterback, and the Giants were like, we're not trading Nassib. And again, they just sat him until his contract expired and then showed him the door, which was a complete waste of position.
And he never played again.
And never played again.
He never really played at all.
He might have got some snaps with the Eagles or something like that. But, there's no, in my eyes, you drafted Laletta. I don't know what his deal is. Like I said, I don't know if he's got a crappy attitude or not, but he clearly outplayed Tanney. It's a shell game right now. There are teams that need a quarterback, like, of course, which is not has anything to do with the Giants, but of course, like the Colts need a quarterback. They need some competition there. Like there are teams that need a quarterback. I find it ironic that they just chalk it up to cutting him when like they should have held on to him and tried to shop him. I mean, and if they tried, how hard did they really try? The kid's 23 years old. He's got to have some value somewhere. So it just feels like they gave up on him, and I think that kind of comes full circle to them still being pissed off at him and being like, unless he outplayed Jones, he was going to get the door anyway. And if they want a quarterback coach, then you know what? Cut Tanney and make him a quarterback coach and save the roster spot. Because sitting around with a third-string QB that's never going to see the field and you're only keeping him there to be Jones's best friend seems pretty stupid.
Like a mentor, yeah.
It just seems stupid.
Yeah.
Like literally, you take Tanney in a room and be like, listen, we really value, your skill set. You're like a coach on the field. We really like what you do. We'd like to offer you a job. There's no shame in that. The guy's not going to play this year or next year or in any game in the near future. So why not hand the guy a paycheck and let him be Jones's, mentor, muse, whatever you want to call it. Let him have someone to lean on so Tanney can say, hey, this is what's happening in the game. This is why they did that. Why suck up the roster spot? It's annoying.
Yeah, because when you look at the roster and you look at like the defensive line, there's only 5 guys there. That's a rotational unit, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you only have 5 guys.
Yeah, they cut Jenkins.
So, they have Hill, Tomlinson, and Lawrence as their starters, and then Pierre and McIntosh. And, Kareem Martin can play on the end. They do line up. They do morph their defense and put their outside linebackers on the line. So you'll see Golden on there. You'll see Zimenez on there. You'll see Carter come in once in a while and play the end. But in the middle, they don't have a lot of depth.
No.
And I just thought they needed more. They needed Jenkins. I didn't think they should have cut him. You're right.
Agreed.
He signed with somebody else right away.
Yeah, and it just goes back to like what we're just talking about. Like, I've given Gettleman a ton of slack. I've given Shermer a ton of slack. I didn't like the Gettleman move out of the gate, but I was like, his drafts have been fantastic, so you really can't argue. But there are some head scratchers. I mean, he brought in like a couple guys from Carolina that are just basically scrap heap guys to play special teams. And that really gets under my skin because I'm like, the real move is, like we just talked about, is, Simonson not being on, his move, and then of course giving Tanny a job. What's the big deal? Give the guy a job, and then keeping that roster spot and keeping Jenkins.
Yeah.
Like it was the first thing I thought of right away was this is a wasted roster spot for someone that's never going to see the field. It feels a little short-sighted.
Oh, absolutely. And we'll see how it works. They haven't been that good up front the last couple of years, so you try to attack it, strength in numbers, but they're not doing that. They think Lawrence is going to be on the field for a considerable amount of time. And Tomlinson and Hill, Hill did play a lot of snaps last year. But, McIntosh didn't play until the end of the season. So you see the effect he has when he's in the game.
Correct. And you know what? They made this, John, they made the same exact mistake last year at this very time with Okwara, the ex-Notre Dame guy. I have issue with, and again, I'm not killing the guy, but this may come back to either the defensive line coach or Betcher not knowing his players. Last year, you got rid of Okwara, and we know where'd he go? Detroit, and had a great year?
Yeah.
And now we're getting rid of Jenkins. Like, there seems to be a theme every year with the Giants not having enough quality depth and playmakers on the D-line. And what really gets under my skin is that we have zero, with a capital Z, zero pass rush. So it's back to, my front three, Hill, Lawrence, and Tomlinson better be the real deal. Well, in a rotational defense, those guys can only be on the field for so many snaps. Right. You need the backup. So what do? Last year we get rid of Okwara. This year we get rid of Jenkins. It feels like a theme, like it's just you're showing your vulnerability right up front. Hey, you got no pass rush, and now you got no depth. Hey, but guess what? We got 3 QBs. Come on, man. Like it's an issue, and I don't want to dwell on it too much, but it doesn't make sense. One, trade Laletta. Don't just cut him. And by the way, and we can get into this too, because I'd love to get your opinion on it. He goes to the Eagles. Are you telling me whether they play them week 1 or week 16, it doesn't make a difference? He knows, not only does he know the language, which the Giants will have to change, right, and then the cadence, but here's the thing what people forget. And you could say I'm overreacting. That's fine. It still won't change my thought processes. He knows the tendencies of the most important guy on the field, which is Eli Manning. Right. He knows the subtle nuances of Eli Manning's game, whether it's a head nod, whether it's a on the field. Well,
to be fair, there's 15 years of tape on Eli Manning, so
I agree, but that's old news.
There's no tape on Daniel Jones.
I'm sorry?
There's no tape on Daniel Jones.
Yeah, okay, you can go as far as saying Jones too. Like, Lalletta's literally giving you, hey, when he taps his foot, expect this. He has a tendency to do this. He doesn't see this. You can overestimate that all you want, but I know as an NFL franchise, when the Patriots pick up Jake Ballard with a blown out knee, who's never going to play, but he's an ex-Giant, and the Patriots pick him up to put him on the practice squad. It's purely, from a strategic standpoint. Yeah. They pick up Jake Ballard after the Super Bowl. Was it 2012? Jake Ballard blows his knee out in the Super Bowl. The Patriots pick him up the next year just to pick his brain. So Lalletta's there to just give them insight. He may never see the field there either. Right. But it doesn't make sense. Like, between this whole quarterback thing doesn't make sense when you needed the roster spot. You needed the roster spot for the D lineman, as you just alluded to.
All right, so let's talk about the rest of the roster real quick because we got a lot to cover. We don't have a lot of time, so they let Alonzo Russell go, which I think a lot of people were upset about. And he's the kind of guy who can play a little offense. He's a big 6'4" receiver, but he was very good on special teams. And he was a physical player. And he's the kind of guy you really want on your team.
Yes.
And they let him go, and they signed this kid from Cincinnati, Cody Core, who apparently he's a more polished receiver. And I think that's what they're looking for. Cincinnati's pretty deep, or was pretty deep at wide receiver, so they let him go. But he might be a good pickup for them. Right now they have 6 receivers that are kind of equal in talent. Shepard might have Sterling Shepard might have a slight advantage over some of the others, but the rest of them, I think, are all interchangeable. Cody Latimer, Russell Shepard, Benny Fowler. We haven't seen what the kid Darius Slayton could do, and we won't this week because he's out with a hamstring.
Yeah.
So, I think they could have used Alonzo Russell on specials and on the offense. But what happens is when cut day comes, everybody has a list of guys. If this guy ever gets cut, we want to take a look at him. If this guy ever gets waived, he's on our list. And if we think he's better than some of the guys that we have, we're going to take him on. And that's what they look at. So, the scouts scouted these guys through college. They put them on the list. Even after they get into pros, you have your pro people, your pro scouting people say, if this guy gets cut, he could help us, he could be a fit here. So they have a list. So these guys come up on the list. And the Giants signed 3 of them, right? Cody Core, this kid Eric Smith, Tomlinson. I think that's it.
They picked up the kid, the linebacker.
Oh, David Mayo, who is a special teams guy.
Yep.
I think I hope he can play linebacker better than Nate Stupar. I mean, that wouldn't be too tough, but
Nate's still on a team.
Yeah, he's still here because he's very good on special teams. But if he has to play defense, the Giants are up. What's creek.
Yeah,
they're in trouble. Too. They're in trouble.
My thing is with Cody Core is it's his 4th year in the league, and I'm not diminishing at all what you said about him being polished, but
more polished. I'm not saying he's polished. He's more polished than Alonzo Russell.
Yeah,
who you saw drop a lot of passes, and he cuts his routes are imperfect.
Because listen, you're not getting that much better with Cody Core. 4 years in the league. The guy literally has 1 touchdown and 30 catches.
Right.
I mean, it's not like the guy's done a whole lot in 3 years. I mean, what's he got? Let's see, 3. He's got a total of 30 catches for 360 yards and 1 touchdown. I mean, it's not like his body of work is that admirable.
No, and that's why a lot of people questioned it. I mean, it's not really a huge upgrade, and Russell had hustled all summer long and made an impression.
All summer long.
Yeah, practice and in games. All right, well, he's gone. Maybe he'll be back. I don't think anybody picked him up. Maybe he'll be back. Somebody gets hurt. You never know. Let's go through the starting lineup on offense right now. Sure. This depth chart has Benny Fowler starting, and he's not going to start. Cody Latimer is going to start. So it'll be Latimer, Shepard at receiver. Tight end will be Ingram and Ellison if they go to 12 personnel. Eli, Barkley. Your line is going to be Solder, Hernandez, Jalapio, Zeitler, and Remmers.
Remmers is also on the injury report.
He's on the injury report because he was sick and he missed a practice. And his back is his back. So, he's going to be the guy that's going to be facing off against DeMarcus Lawrence, who's coming back from injury also.
Yeah.
So that's a key matchup to watch in this week's game.
I'd like to note. You hope that 2 guys that are hurt both come along at the same time because Lawrence could make you have a very long day if he's 100% healthy. But I'd also note, and I'm not saying it's a huge loss, but just in case anybody hasn't been following, the transactions, the Giants cut Chad Wheeler.
Right. He was waived injured.
So he got some type of injury settlement today.
Did he?
Maybe yesterday, yeah.
Okay.
There was like 5 guys that got injury settlement this morning. He was one of them, or maybe it was yesterday. But either
yesterday I saw 3. They waived 7 guys injured, and I only saw settlements for 3 of them so far through the league report that I get. But
and the thing is, I don't really. I mean, again, I don't love Wheeler, but to plug him in isn't horrible since he played there all last year. I was still again. Another surprise that kind of took me, but made me kind of raise an eyebrow is like, I don't know. He's got to have value. Cutting him right out. I mean, we've had some bad right tackles before. Wheeler was serviceable. No, you don't think so?
He was below average.
You're liking
This guy Slade is better.
Okay, so you're okay with Slade. I mean, Nick Gates
I don't know what Eric Smith is, so we'll see.
And then the guard, Nick Gates played great, so I was glad to see him make.
He can play multiple positions. So can Pulley. So can Jalapeno. So they got some versatility there. They got some size there. Don't have a lot of superior talent. These guys are B- talent. Obviously, none of them were drafted. They're all undrafted free agents or free agents that were on the street, one of the 2. The only guy they drafted of the 9 offensive linemen they have, or the 10 offensive linemen they have, is Will Hernandez. He's the only one they personally drafted.
Correct, yeah.
Everybody else is a free agent, or one guy they got through a trade, and that was Kevin Zeitler.
Who might turn out to be our best offensive lineman.
Well, he's probably the steadiest, yeah, I'd say. He'll be the steadiest influence on that line.
On the defensive side, let's see what we get here. You want to run down the defensive side?
Yeah, your front line is going to be, if they start 3-4, it'll be B.J. Hill, Tomlinson, and Lawrence. Your linebackers will be Martin, Ogletree, Davis, and Carter. Your safeties are going to be Peppers and Bethea. Jenkins at one corner, and either the rookie DeAndre Baker or Hamilton to start the season at the other corner. Beal is on IR.
Yeah, it's another bust.
So he couldn't make the season, so they put him on IR, but he could be recalled after 8 weeks. And let's see if he's ready. If he's ready after 8 weeks, then you got a body there.
Yeah, that's one. It's another head scratcher. I want to throw a wrinkle in here for you and see what your reaction is. So I'm on Giants.com, right?
Yeah.
And I just pulled up their depth chart.
Right. Which is supposed to be the official, but I don't really trust it.
Well, yeah, that's what I was just about to say. On Giants.com, on their depth chart, they have Marcus Golden starting over Kareem Martin. Any thoughts?
It's already happened in the preseason. So if you look at if you go to the game books, you'll see the Giants have a different format on defense every game. So there's different guys starting. I mean, your cornerbacks and your safeties are going to be there, and then you may have an extra defensive back starting. You may have 2 linebackers. You may have 4 linebackers. One game they only had 2 linemen and 4 linebackers. So it depends. To me, whoever starts the game doesn't really matter because they're all going to play. It just so happens we're going to come out of the gate with this formation. Depends on who you're playing against.
Yeah, I just was surprised. I mean, I would love to see Golden start. Kareem Martin came on strong the second. Well, I don't know if strong is the right word. He had a better second half than the first half.
Right.
His first half, and I don't usually like dog players, but he had a miserable first half. Last year just was just not ready to play, or just didn't make a play, and then maybe got a little bit more comfortable. But he came here because he knew the system, ex-Arizona guy.
Yeah, it didn't really help him.
No, it didn't at all. In fact, I would have loved to tell you right now that he had a great year last year because he knew the system, and I really can't say that. So if Marcus Golden is healthy and he's getting more snaps, that can only be good for the Giants because he's younger, he's quicker. We know he's had a handful of good years before the injury, and of course last year the changing of the defense scheme-wise. So I'd like to see Golden kind of be like a diamond in the rough, kind of like a guy that just surprises everyone, and maybe he makes a difference. Now, Martin, I think, is also a position that potentially could have been cut too if we're still talking roster-wise.
Yeah, he's got a pretty hefty salary, so. And Martin is actually younger than Golden, by the way.
Oh, are you kidding me?
No.
Wait, he is?
Yeah.
Oh, I stand corrected. Martin just may just seem old as time. I don't know.
Yeah, Golden was born in 91 and Martin was born in 92.
Oh, technicality got me.
Yeah, so they haven't been in the league that long. They've been in the league probably the same amount of time, 6 years or so. And to me, Martin is more of a defensive end. I don't think he should be playing linebacker.
Oh, I agree with that wholeheartedly.
Yeah, he should be up on the line, just like Olsen Pierre, who looks like a pretty decent player. I think they're kind of the same. But we'll see. We'll see how they use them. Like I said, if you look, every game, they're going to come out with a different formation.
Yeah.
And, offenses, opposing offenses they're going to be prepared for one thing, and they're going to see another thing, which is helpful. But the problem is the Giants have a lot of communication problems on defense, and they don't really take advantage of the element of surprise.
Well, let me ask you a question. Do you find they have a communication issue last year?
Last year they did.
Okay, because I was going to say that last year, the entire team's decimated by injuries, and you're plugging and playing guys, and guys are getting put on the team middle of the season and so forth. So it should be better this year as long as they stay healthy. When you start plugging and playing guys mid-season, they don't know the defense, the calls. Yeah. So
the defense won't have as many problems communication-wise because Bethea is out there. Jenkins is out there. Ogletree is out there. Okay? And you have some other veterans too. So, Golden understands the defense. He knows his role. All right? Connolly is a smart kid if he's out there. So
I'm super excited to see Connolly because
right, and Michael Thomas is a veteran too. He doesn't make too many mistakes. So
no, and speaking of safeties, I was really happy to see, a little bit surprised, and then I guess when you look at the tape, maybe not, but just in general, I was really happy to see Sean Chandler, get that free safety backup role.
Yeah, he earned it.
Yeah, because I was pretty confident when the season camp started that Love was going to take it, but Love struggled.
He earned his spot. Haley earned his spot. The rookies actually earned all of their spots. Ballantyne had a terrific camp.
Yeah, he did have a great camp.
I mean, he had his challenges. I mean, considering where he, what kind of a year he's had, personally.
Yeah.
Zimenez looked really good. Connolly looked really good. Love looked really good. Of course, Jones looked incredible.
I thought Love struggled a little bit, almost like maybe he should be playing corner or slot.
That's what they're going to use him at. They wanted to try him at safety because they're trying to figure out what to do with him. But I think going forward, he's going to be playing, either slot corner, nickel or dime, whatever.
Yeah.
I don't think he'll be playing a safety role.
That makes sense. I thought he looked a little like a fish out of water when he was lined up just in space out there.
Because they had a lot of guys. They didn't really know what to do with him right away. They're not putting him on the outside, so he's either going to play slot corner, nickel dime, third safety, whatever. But they don't really need him at third safety because they have Chandler, they have Thomas, Peppers and Bethea may not come off the field. I mean, you may see them on 90% of the snaps, maybe more.
Yeah. Yep. I'd like to see, and I'm sure Betcher has some type of, brew he can mix, because I'd like to see Zimenez and Carter on the field at the same time.
Right. What we need to see is Carter getting pressure one-on-one. Okay, we need to see him beating his man. We didn't see a lot of that last year. He really took bad routes. Yeah, well, he took bad routes to the quarterback. You don't want to get yourself tied up with a tackle if you're an outside linebacker. You want to be able to beat the guy. You don't want to go mano-a-mano. Once the tackle gets his hands on you, you're done. You're either slowed down to the point or you don't even get to the quarterback.
Rookie mistakes, right?
Yes. So Zimenez has a more slippery presence where he can get past those guys. You know what I'm saying? He's not as big as Carter, but I think he's faster. And Golden knows the way too. So I think their pass rush with those guys is going to be okay. We're going to find out this week because Dak Prescott gets sacked a lot. And we'll see what they can do with him because, he holds on to the ball too long. Not because the Dallas line is bad. It's just that he's running around with the ball. He gets caught behind the line of scrimmage. That's a sack. Like Russell Wilson. He gets sacked near the sidelines.
Yeah.
Or he gets sacked in the pocket. He doesn't throw the ball away. So Prescott's a lot like Russell Wilson in that sense. You see the sack numbers. You get excited. Wow, they give up a lot of sacks. No, he just doesn't get rid of the football. He was trying to make a play at the very last second, and he ends up eating the ball. So hopefully they could do that this week with Prescott. Because he's killed the Giants. Well, he's had some good games, just like Elliott. Good games, bad games. But they've won the last 4. So that's what really counts, right?
Yeah. The Giants have been miserable for so long that this is definitely an improved roster and an improved team. Even mentally, this team seems to be. I mean, look, what do you call it? Catches the ball in the end zone to come back on the Patriots, and they actually ran on the field.
Yeah.
To congratulate the guy. I mean, this team has a different type of feel to it. They definitely feel. Yeah. And correct me if I'm wrong. Not that there was any bad blood or anything, but that locker room has definitely changed.
Oh, absolutely. There's no sideshows. There's really no distractions. There's nobody saying, my agent just told me I should hold out or whatever. There's no contract issues, and that's what Gettleman likes. He likes to have a peaceful locker room. And Shermer's the same way. Shermer's that kind of a guy. He's a very low-key guy. And he wants to, he doesn't want any, BS in the locker room or surrounding the team. Even though it is New York, it's difficult to do. But, with Collins, it was a big mystery over his contract and everything else. And even though he wasn't saying things outwardly, the issue was there, and he had to address it. So the same thing with Beckham and all of his issues. And as you see, Beckham is already on the injured list.
Yep.
On the injury report, rather, for Cleveland. He'll probably play this week, but still, again, his name's coming up with an injury next to it,
All right, I got a question.
Sure.
And then we can jump everywhere you want, but I got an issue that I need some help understanding.
Mm-hmm.
So, Jones gets cut, which
T.J. Jones?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I take umbrage with. I just absolutely think that was a stupid move. But okay, let's rationalize that they felt the injury he had was going to take too long, right? Who's returning kicks? Why do every year we have such crummy kick returners? I like Cody Latimer. He's not a dynamic kick returner.
No. But he doesn't fumble the ball.
But we saw and we had guys to return the kicks in preseason.
Well, they were trying guys out.
And none of them are here anymore. They've still got Latimer listed as the kick returner. And
he is the kick returner. Him and Ballantyne are going to be the kick returners.
I'm like, every year I'm like waiting for one guy that just owns that position, and we're like, yeah,
You want a guy that just returns kicks?
Well, a guy that maybe specializes in it wouldn't be bad.
Well, Peppers is going to return punts, and his backup is Antonio Hamilton.
And Slayton.
Well, Slayton, not this week, but yes.
Yeah.
So Latimer and Ballantyne will return kicks. Now, how many kicks do you actually return in the NFL these days?
Yeah, I know. But who returned the punt for a touchdown last week?
Oh, I don't even know. For the Giants?
Yeah. Ended the game against the Bears. Punt return.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, some of these guys have skill, but they never seem to make the team. I'm like, come on. Why are we putting our starters out there returning kicks?
Yeah.
Like, if Latimer gets hurt or Peppers gets hurt,
well, you only have 53 guys, so,
Well, that's why
they got to play special teams.
Oh, yeah, but I was hoping one of the receivers, like one of the guys that needs to earn a spot, like Shepard or Fowler or one of those guys. Like, I don't want to see Latimer or Peppers returning kicks and to get blasted. I don't know. I always go back. You and I have talked about it before. I'll forever have Jason Sehorn syndrome.
Right.
With kick returners, punt returners. Like, don't put your starters returning kicks. Sooner or later, something bad happens.
Right. Yeah, well, that's the way it goes. You have to have guys that can do both. They can't just do one, just can't do one job. They have to do multiple jobs.
True.
So, did you see the Giants named 7 captains this year?
Yeah, way too many.
That's a lot, yeah.
Listen, I come from, as well as you do, and I actually am a huge fan of it. Number 53 had a C on his chest. He walked out there by himself. Total intimidation factor when Harry Carson walked out by himself.
Right.
I think now it's like some type of like reward system or something.
Oh.
I don't get it. Don't get it at all.
Yeah. Let's get back to the punt return. That was Britton Golden who returned the punt. Just slipped my mind. He got cut.
Yep.
Yeah, he was actually not a rookie or anything. He was like 31 years old, that guy. Been around the league. So everyone said, "Oh, look at this kid." And he's not a kid. He's been around. And now he's back out on the street. I don't think anybody signed him, but you're right. I wanted to bring something up. I'm sorry, we're out of sync today. I don't know what's going on.
My bad.
The Giants led the NFL in total offense in the preseason. People say that doesn't mean anything. It does when your 3 best players are on the bench. And they led in points, too.
And a lot of that was with a backup QB.
Right. Manning only played a few snaps here and there. So, no Shepard, no Ingram, no Barkley, no Eli. And you lead in total offense, and you lead in points. Now, what does that tell you?
Well, that the line is much better than it used to be.
Okay.
Well, the team is deeper than it used to be.
Okay. But it goes beyond the players themselves.
Well, and then my third thing is that the system works.
That's it. The system is in. Okay? And guys, now it's just upgrading. Now you're going to upgrade the talent to that system. Okay? You're going to put an Ingram. You're going to put 3 explosive players into that system. And a quarterback who's got a supercharged arm now. And Eli Manning, who knows the system very well. So think about that. A lot of people they're not thinking about that. Say, "Oh, Eli, he stinks. He's old." You haven't seen him throw the ball recently, have you?
No,
Sterling Shepard has a broken thumb. Why? Because Eli threw the ball too hard. Nobody wants to talk about that.
People don't want to like Eli because they're. Hey, listen. If you're listening to the show, I'm not trying to offend anyone that's under 30, but there is a wave of Eli hate because people want to turn the page. I get it. People like fresh things, new things. I get it. It makes sense, but they're not doing that in New England. And they're not
or
doing
New
it
Orleans, or the L.A. Chargers.
or Pittsburgh.
Right.
Like, I mean, look, you know,
Somebody just named Rivers one of the top 5 quarterbacks in the league.
Yeah, well, that was a little weird, but yeah, I got you. Yeah, I mean, look, Jones can play. We were probably all wrong about Jones.
We were.
And, you know, so, all right, we're eating crow. Jones is going to
So
be better
far,
than...
anyway.
Yeah, I mean, it's better than we thought. But, listen, you want stability at the quarterback position. You want to have someone that knows what they're doing, and you want a guy to teach Jones the right things to do. And right now, I'm sure I could go back into the archives and look at the some of the things that I've said. Not majority of them probably aren't right, you know. But I will say I've always said quarterback's not the biggest problem. If you put a quarterback behind a good line with good talent and a good system, good things happen.
Mm-hmm.
So right now, you know, Eli's done some off-season work with some type of baseball pitcher trainer.
Yep.
For velocity-wise, and he's got a good team around him. I don't know. I think people just need to move on. Jones will get his opportunity. He's not going anywhere.
Yeah. They're in a good situation. And, they're going to spread the ball around. They've got plenty of hands. Defenses are going to be – they won't be able to focus on – outside of Barkley, they won't be able to focus on one guy. And if they do focus on Barkley, good. You know, sometimes you like that.
Well, yeah, and which would be your second most talented guy on the team. Pure talent, pound for pound, is Ingram. So, you're hoping that guy has a breakout year because I'm all over that guy. He needs to have 1,000 yards and 8 touchdowns this year. This is his year to explode.
He needs to stay healthy. That's the first thing.
Yeah.
And then from there, I think everything will flesh out for him.
And not tweet about his diet.
Yeah, well, young guys, they're kind of silly with that stuff.
Yeah.
So they're playing Dallas this week. Dallas is 7.5-point favorites.
Obnoxious.
Which is a lot, considering. The over-under is 45.5, which is kind of, that's average. But what they're looking for is probably a 24-20 game or 24-21. I guess that's the way they're looking at it. It'll be a close game. I think it'll be a close game. Because
who's got the better D-line?
The Cowboys have the better D. There's no question about that.
Okay, well, that's kind of what I mean. You're really looking at this as a Zeke versus Barkley thing.
No, I'm not looking at that. Zeke hasn't really done much against the Giants.
Well, that's kind of where I was going. Was it's each team, has an offense that is built around the running back.
Right.
I mean, Jason Witten's 100 years old, and the line's a little banged up for Dallas, with some guys that are making comebacks and so forth. But it's built around the running back. So you got to lean a little bit on who has a better D line to shut that guy down. Because I mean, I think Zeke's a great back. I don't think he's as good as Barkley, but that's me maybe being a homer. But here's the thing: I am a big proponent of training camp and preseason for one reason only. Every time a guy holds out, the guy gets hurt. You can look throughout history.
Yeah.
Every time a guy holds out, he gets hurt. There was a quote in Michael Strahan's book is, you can be ready to play football and you can be in great shape. You'll never be in football shape unless you're on the field.
Correct.
And I'm sure I'm mangling that quote, but it's pretty, I'm paraphrasing there on what it is. There's no way Zeke just comes in there and blows out 140 yards. It's not going to happen.
No, he's been in Cabo for 2 months, whatever it is, 6 weeks.
Yep.
And, he's probably in good shape. But like you said, if you're not taking the hits every day, if you're not out on the field doing the reps, it's not like riding a bicycle sometimes.
It's a hamstring waiting to happen.
Yeah, it's usually a hamstring, a calf, a quad.
Yep.
So a leg injury because your legs are not in shape. Not used to the cutting, not used to the rigor.
Correct, yeah, because they're in shape because they've been like running in sand and running steps.
Yes.
But not when you got a 260-pound linebacker hanging off you.
Right.
Or a 300-pound D tackle, hitting you.
So, he could be the exception. And, he's been the exception to a lot of things so far in his career. He's been pretty good. But you're right. He could come right in and all of a sudden he's either winded or, he pulls up with a leg injury, a cramp. Who knows? But I see him 20 touches in this game. But that's only half the problem. The other half is they got this rookie, Tony Pollard, out of Memphis, who is fast. He's fast as hell. And he had a great preseason. And, he could give the Giants fits. So, and Dak always gives them fits. They can't seem to corral him.
Well, he is also 60 pounds?
Who?
240 pounds?
Who, Prescott?
Yeah.
I don't know how big he is, but I don't think he's that big. But
I'm going to look it up because he's a hard guy to bring down. He's a big boy.
Yeah, he's, he's got another year under his belt. So, he's made a lot of mistakes in the games he's played against the Giants. He's made some good plays, but he's made a lot of mistakes. So hopefully they can force him into some errors. That's big, of course. Naturally, you're going to want to win the turnover battle.
He's almost 240. He's
okay. So he's thick.
6'2".
He's thick. And he's fast for his size. He can move. He can avoid the rush or whatever. But like I said, he holds on to the football sometimes too long. And he ends up getting sacked or he ends up making a bad throw. So hopefully they can do that again to him this week. I see the Giants covering the 7.5. I mean, when you talk about 7.5, you got to win by more than a touchdown. Duh.
Yeah.
So you're looking at winning by 10.
That's going to come down. I guarantee that comes down by game time.
Well, I think it was 7. They bumped it to 7.5 because all the action. They wanted to get more Giants action. They weren't getting enough, and now it's 60% Giants action, so they'll definitely reduce it back down.
Yeah,
but they need to balance it out.
At game time, I bet it's 6.
Could go down to a 6, 6.5. Bookies like that half a point. They don't like pushes too much. Pushes they win, but still, they'd rather win outright.
Oh yeah, I got some Twitter questions too. If you want to,
sure, let's go.
All right. I think you have a couple too, if I'm not mistaken.
I don't have any because there was just so much vitriol on the internet this week. I just got sick of it.
All right. Well, the biggest one I have, and I'm going to scout through. I got a bunch of stuff here. Some of it doesn't even make sense because we already talked about it. But Gaza. Let me see. So it's at Gazman Superstar. All right.
The Gazman. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. The Gaz. Yeah. What's the magic number of losses before Daniel Jones takes the hot seat? And in quotes, it says, "Hoping we win, and there's no need to rush."
3.
But he wants to know what the magic number is.
If they lose 3 of the first 4, he's in.
What about overall number? Is there an overall number of losses, like 5, 7?
You mean if, let's say, they're playing 500 ball throughout the year?
Yeah.
Like they win one, lose one of those things where, they're in it, but they're not really in it?
Correct.
A lot of people say 9, but, the Giants could just say, you know what? Things don't look good. Let's go to Daniel. There's no set number, but 9 would definitely it would definitely trigger a change.
All right, this one's a little bit jumping the shark here because it might not even be necessary, but I'm going to throw it out there and let you shoot it down. I love Barkley and think we should pay him in the future, but how much? But when is too much? Too much?
Okay, with Barkley. Okay, first of all, you're dealing with Dave Gettleman, who did not want to pay Odell Beckham Jr. That was something that came down from the Mounts. Give him this contract, and Gettleman was like, "No, I don't think this is a good idea." And then eventually he won out, and they ended up trading him, and they ended up eating all of that money when they didn't have to. with Barkley, he's a different player, different person than Beckham. But with a running back, their NFL life expectancy, shelf life is 5-6 years. Okay, the Giants have Barkley pretty much under contract for 5 years. He signed a $31 million fully guaranteed contract as a rookie. That's 4 years. You get the 5th-year option at a prorated price. So it'll probably, at that point, it'll probably be like $10 million a year, maybe more. So that's 5 years. So what will he look like in 5 years? Look at Todd Gurley. I know Todd Gurley came in with a knee injury, but Todd Gurley isn't worth the money he's being paid, and Elliott won't be the money he's going to be paid in a year or two either.
When was Elliott's contract up?
Next year.
So he was complaining about a contract after 2020?
Yes, came in the league in 16. No, 15. Did 15, I think.
Wait, 15, 16, 17, 18.
Wait, hold on. No, 16. No, 16 he was a rookie. 17 and 18. So he's been in the league 3 years. This is his 4th year. Okay? The 5th-year option was on the table. I don't know. I think they sent it. They had to give it to him. So he's looking for an extension past that 5th year. That's the sticky wicket with him.
So they gave him, what, 6 years?
Yeah, they gave him way too much money. He's not going to last that long, especially the way he gets hit. I mean, he gets the ball a lot. He has a heavy workload. He can avoid hits, but he doesn't always. So he's going to have to try to economize by going out of bounds, taking downs off, and that's where this Tony Pollard kid comes in.
All right, you ready for another one?
Sure.
The offensive line has been garbage since Bradshaw retired. He got cut. He went to the Colts, just for the record, Mike. But he wants to know if this is the best offensive line we've had since Bradshaw retired / got cut.
Yeah. No question about it. No question in my mind. It's the best they've had since the Super Bowl.
As long as Remmers is healthy.
If Remmers can play, yeah.
And by the way, Remmers isn't the answer, for the record. Remmers is a nice, if he's healthy, he's a 2-year, max 3-year guy.
Well, he's only got a 1-year contract, so.
I meant they bring him back, if he's healthy. He's still not the answer at right tackle. They need to draft a guy in the 2nd or 3rd round and lock him in so he's there for 6 to 8 years. Remmers is a nice stopgap unless he finds the fountain of youth.
Right.
I mean, Remmers has been on 5 teams.
Right.
So you know that Remmers is a good player, but he's not your answer.
Right. He's a temporary, stopgap. He's a filler, but he's not a bad player. He's an average to above average. Especially in this system, Shermer's system. He's really flourished in that. He's a veteran. He doesn't get owned out on the field. He's a man. So we'll see how it goes. So, health will be the driving force behind, his season. Let's see if he could stay healthy and play every game. What else you got?
That's all I got. Just a couple, everybody's just
talking.
The rest of them are all, do the Giants win this week?
Do they win this week? That I couldn't tell you.
I've got 3 of them here that are all asking the same thing: is do we think the Giants can win this week?
Oh, they can absolutely win this game. I don't think Dallas is. Dallas is not a team that's going to blow you out. They're not built that way, offensively. Especially, if you can control the clock a little bit. They need to drive the football. And if you just don't let them do that on you, or you make it more difficult for them to get down the field, keep the big plays to a minimum. Their receivers are okay. I mean, their offensive weapons are okay, but basically they're a team that runs and they play good defense. That's their MO. So they play close games just like the Giants do. By nature. And they'll play another close game here. And, if the game is close, you're in it, you can win it. So, as long as the Giants don't collapse defensively in the 4th quarter. if they could play 4 quarters of defense, which they couldn't do last year because they didn't have the depth or the talent, they could be in any game. You know, look at all the games they lost by less than 7 points. 8 games by less than 7 points. And why was that? Because they couldn't stop anybody late in the game. So, you know, the Peppers, Bethea, new pass rush guys, hopefully that defense takes over. The Betcher system kicks in year 2. I haven't really seen it in the preseason, but we'll say the offense has looked a lot better than the defense. So that's my answer.
I agree. I mean, the Giants lost. The Giants had 4 games last year. Philly, Carolina, Indy, and there's one that escapes me right now.
The last game against Dallas.
Yes, in Dallas, where they were winning in the fourth quarter. At the end of the fourth quarter, you know, Eli gives you the lead, and the defense choked away 4 potential wins. Now, am I saying that do the Giants go 8-8? No. I mean, you know, that's that. But it's possible. I mean, again, 4 games you're winning in the middle of the fourth quarter, and you lose the Eagles on a crazy field goal. You give away the Carolina game, the Dallas game. I mean, some of these games were in hand. Just needed one series where the Giants go, shut the team down and go 3 and out, and they couldn't. So yeah, the Giants could have been a minimum of 7-9, potentially 8-8 last year, and that's what you should be looking at. I'm not jumping the gun here, but you should be expecting the Giants to play 8-8 ball this year. That's what you should be expecting. They could go 10-6. They could also go 7-9, 6-10. But you should be expecting the Giants, with this type of team, this depth, to be able to play 8-8 ball. That should be your baseline.
They should be a competitive team, more competitive team this year than they were last year. They were very competitive last year, but they couldn't finish games.
Yep.
So
I'm right with you. They couldn't finish games.
So we'll continue this next week. That's about all the time we have. Sorry we're not a little more prepared this week, but we will be going forward. We'll be doing this every week, doing our show.
Yeah, but we're entertaining though. The people love the Giants guys.
Yeah, I know, but still. Some of the other people that broadcast every day or podcast every day, man, they could bore the pants right off you.
Oh, without a doubt.
And I listen to them. I'm like, who is sitting here listening to this X and O's babble?
No.
From people who aren't even coaches.
No. Or have played
or
have whatever.
Played, yeah. They're talking about 3 gap, 5 gap. I mean, who cares?
You know what I'll tell you?
I don't care if you work at the gap. Who cares? Stupid.
I'm going to tell you, I'm going to end the show with this. My favorite thing that happened this preseason is Jake Carlock making the practice squad.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
I feel good for the kid, Long Island University product. And I'm looking at your article on Giants Wire. Your quote is, he's tailor-made for the practice squad, to quote John Fennelly. He is tailor-made for the practice squad. And it's right on, and I feel good about it because the guy played his heart out. It's a good story. I mean, he is as close to Chase Blackburn as I can think of.
The reason why I say that, because when you watch practice, we need a guy to do this, the coach will say.
Yep.
We need a guy to mimic whoever we're going to play this week. Carlock, get in there.
Yeah.
He's going to do it. You be the running back. You be the tight end. You be the pass rusher. You be the the kicker. He'll do it all. He'll get in there and he'll get in there and be a scout for all of those positions, and he'll do it willingly and well.
You know what's funny about Carlock is I am willing right now to sign on a piece of paper to swap Stupar for Carlock, because guess what? Carlock would be an amazing special teams kid.
Yeah, but you know that the leap from LIU to the NFL is.
I know, but
so he's already made a big leap already. So
no doubt.
Now it's just a short hop to the NFL.
Well,
so he'll get some more seasoning.
Keep this in mind. We loved Chase Blackburn, okay? And Chase Blackburn played at Akron.
Akron, that's right. He was a zip.
Yeah. So while I'm with you, it is a humongous leap. I mean, for a guy like myself who was not fast enough, not big enough to play Division I ball, like I'm rooting for the kid, right? But as you alluded to earlier, that like if Stupar's in the game, we're in trouble. I'm like, so Stupar's there to play special teams. I'm like, Carlock can run. Listen, when have you ever seen Nate Stupar, knock a ball down, catch his own deflected pass, and run 50 yards for a touchdown?
He never touches the ball, that guy, unless it's on the ground.
Exactly. So my thought is, put Carlock on special teams. I guarantee he makes a play, just like Chase Blackburn did. Nobody knew Chase Blackburn would have a 10-year career. So Carlock just reminds me of a kid. When you give him a chance, he takes advantage of it. So coming back to that roster thing, to come full circle, and I'll bow out here, is I'd like to see Carlock get called up to play some special teams.
Yeah, I think you'll see that at some point. I mean, they have to go with these guys, these veteran guys right now, because, you can't go with all rookies naturally and try to win. But you'll see some of these guys come up maybe next year, maybe the end of this year. There's still some depth issues on this team, but as the year goes on, the herd gets thinner with injuries. This is the NFL. Very few guys play 16 games now. Very few. You can't expect them. They want to go to 18 games. They better expand the rosters to 80 guys. That's sick.
Oh, by the way, some guy named Golden Trumpet, who's a complete tool, commented on your article. Like, hey, man, anytime Golden Trumpet wants to edit articles for us for free, be my guest, my friend. Okay? It's not easy to bang out content and be 100% grammatically correct. So
what do you do?
He just got some smart ass comment here on your article on Giants Wire, and his handle is Golden Trumpet. Well, hey, buddy, you can stick that Golden Trumpet right up where it doesn't, belong, because anytime people want to criticize,
what did he say?
He's commenting on your grammar, like I don't know, you missed a comma somewhere.
I probably did. You know what? We don't really get a chance to edit 100%. We're not 100% great with the editing because it's instant publishing.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Like, the point is that you're out here cranking out content for these people. Like, everybody needs to just relax. Like, it would be great to have an editor come over and grammatically change everything to the right tense at the right time, but it doesn't work that way. So everybody needs to lighten up.
This isn't the New York Post or the New York Times or Sports Illustrated where things get submitted to an editor. I have the ability to post directly to online, directly to the internet.
Yeah.
So sometimes Dan will look at it, or Kevin, or one of the other guys. If it's an article that's not supposed to go out like right now, if it's an emergency or it's a expedited article, if it's something that's going to go out tomorrow, we'll look at it and we'll pick up some of those errors. I'll do it too. But if I have 3 minutes to write a piece, to catch the news curve, I can't guarantee that everything's going to, all the grammar is going to be correct and all the punctuations is going to be there.
I'm just always like ticked off at someone who religiously reads your column, reads NYGiantsRush.com, loves it, and then finds the only thing to comment on is a missed comma.
That's what you took away from this article, is I missed a comma, you idiot.
I know. I mean, it drives me crazy. So,
You sure that wasn't Golden Flowers?
Golden Trumpet.
Golden Trumpet.
Yeah, I know. What a tool. Anyway.
Yeah, speaking of Golden, he's not going to play for another month. So, Golden Tate, that is.
Well, thanks for listening to the Giants, guys. You can check out NYGiantsRush.com. We've got our guys up there banging out the Monday Morning Manning and the Film Room and some other stuff that's out there. And you can, of course, as you normally do, Follow me on NYGiantsRush on Twitter, and I will engage your debate at any time. Let's try to keep it positive, though, people, because it's a new year, and there's a lot of good things to be excited about. So I'm done. That's off to you, John. You're up.
All right. Well, thanks again for listening, and we'll catch you next week after the Giants defeat the Dallas Cowboys this week with any luck.
You heard it here first.
And thanks for listening again. We'll catch you next time.